Jesus saw things differently than we did. When we looked outward at the Romans, Jesus looked inward toward the temple. When we looked outward at sin, Jesus looked inward at the person. When we were impressed by public displays of religiosity, Jesus, well, he looked inward. He saw a cold heart.
Jesus taught us to give in secret. He taught us to pray sincerely to God and not to impress others. He taught us that when we're being kind to others, it's the same thing as being kind to Him. And Jesus was definitely the greatest teacher of all time. But now we know He was so much more than that.
I've never seen a bunch of foolish people like you guys. What Jesus was doing did not make any sense. He had no political ambition, no drive. He was pandering to the wrong people. He even associated with sinful people. Just the other day, he let a woman make a fool of herself in front of all of us. She bought an expensive jar of perfume and poured it on his head. He just sat back and took all the attention. She could have used that jar to feed the poor and look after us for a long, long time. That night, I went to the chief priest and I put an end to this foolishness.
It was time to celebrate Passover. Jesus was acting very strangely that night. During the meal, he even told us that one of us would betray him. Later, Jesus told us that we would all run away from him. I told Jesus I would never run away. I was a rock, remember?
It happened later that night. Judas, the chief priest, and the Roman soldiers came and arrested Jesus, even while we were praying. They took him away, and I couldn't believe it. He had done nothing wrong.
I denied I knew the Lord. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I did it right while Jesus was being falsely accused during that phony trial. What have I done? Can God forgive me? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What do I do now? Where do I go? What do the other disciples say?
Most people just call me Barabbas. Some think of me as a terrorist. I joined a group called Sicarii, Dagger Men. I was caught, convicted, and sentenced to die on the cross. It will happen tomorrow.
My name is Mary. I could never understand how so many people could hate a good man like Jesus. The night they took him, and even early morning hours, they were cursing and screaming. They even spit on Jesus. The Romans whipped him unmercifully in order to appease the crowd. But they're not going to be appeased. They were yelling, "Crucify him! Crucify him!"
The Romans, they couldn't find Jesus guilty of anything. Even Pilate tried to have Jesus free because the Romans, they would release one prisoner at the time of the feast. He tried to have Jesus free, but the crowds, they yelled, "Give us Barabbas! Give us Barabbas!" Barabbas, he's a murderer, a terrorist. Why would they let him go free and not Jesus?
Jesus remained calm. He showed such courage. It was, if he had known along this way, and he had prepared all his life for this.
I couldn't believe it. They are going to release me. They are going to crucify this man called Jesus in my place. I'm a free man.
Jesus died that day. They killed him in the most horrible way imaginable. Right in front of his mother. I felt that if I wanted to die with him. But Jesus, he asked me to look after his mother. Even in terrible agony, Jesus was able to think beyond himself.
Day one was the low point. I wanted it to be a dream so much. I woke up praying. Ironic. In the garden when I was supposed to pray, I fell asleep.
The dreams and the promises seem to have died with him.
I wish I had died. We felt powerless, so we hid.
I spent the second day at home, leaving out the Passover. I tried to cook busy, so I wouldn't feel the hurt so much.
I went over and over what he had said. What did I miss? He could have stopped this. I know it.
Had to go to the tomb. I had to take care of him. He saved my life. I wanted to take care of him.
I keep coming back to how I had abandoned him. Did he die because of me?
It was midnight at Golgotha, in the middle of the day. Every sin was laid upon him as the Father turned away. In the silence of that moment, Jesus lifted one last cry. It is finished. Then he died. It is done. Christ has been paid. It is done. Remission's been made. It is done. Earth is then completed. Satan is defeated. Victory is won. It is done. Are you hiding in the shadows of some pain or past regrets? Does your heart feel like it's breaking over shame you can't forget? The grace of God is waiting where the Lamb was crucified. Love the way. Christ has been paid.
Peter and John that someone had taken the Lord from the tomb.
Peter and I, we ran to the tomb. And then I remember what Jesus said. I will suffer and die and rise from the dead. Well, we didn't quite believe when Jesus said it. But I believed when I saw the empty tomb.
We went back to our home, but Mary stood outside the tomb and cried. Her heart was broken.
I looked inside the tomb, and there I saw two angels sitting where Jesus had been. They asked me why I was weeping, and I told them that someone had taken my Lord from the tomb, and I didn't know where they had put him. I turned around, and I saw a man standing behind me. Does he look like my Lord? What kind of cruelty is this? I turned away from him, not knowing it was Jesus. And then he asked me, "Why are you crying?" I actually thought he might have been a gardener and asked him to tell me where he had taken Jesus. And he told me, "Mary." I turned around, and there I knew that this man really was Jesus.
We were still confused and afraid. We were hiding. But I will never forget, Mary said, and came to us and she said, "I have seen the Lord."
It seemed too good to be true, but I knew it was true.
That same night, Jesus came to us and stood among us. He said, "Peace be with you." He showed us his hands and his side. And you can't imagine the celebration we had that